The land down under has never been easier to reach. United Airlines has more flights between the U.S. and Australia than any other U.S. airline, so you can fly nonstop to destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Explore dazzling cities, savor the very best of Aussie cuisine, and get up close and personal with the wildlife. Who doesn't want to hold a koala? Go to united.com/Australia to book your adventure.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. Born on this date in 1935, blues and soul singer J.J. Malone of Pete's Corner, Alabama. Today's National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day. Y'all know what to do. Now, we're going to talk about an Alabama candidate at the DNC, the law coming down on alleged gambling joints in Selma, and a pier that's finally opened back up. We'll also have some good weather news. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. Before we get into it, I know this is played in some classrooms during the year. One thing you'll notice that's different about down in Alabama is that now we often have multiple segments to the show, and it can run a little longer, up to 15, 20, or even an occasional 30 minutes. But if you play this in a classroom or in any time crunch situation, we still have designed the show to give you that quick news rundown up top, usually not more than 5 minutes or so. So while we try to offer a little more on some days, it was important that we still give you that quick news briefing up top, since that's what so many people are here for. All right, let's do some news. The Democratic National Convention got underway Monday night. Thursday night is the big night, when Vice President Kamala Harris makes her speech and accepts the nomination for president. Also scheduled for Thursday night is a speech from Shamari Figures, reports AL.com's Mike Kaysen. Now, Figures is the Democrat in that race to represent Alabama's redrawn 2nd Congressional District. This shouldn't come as a huge surprise that he's speaking. The court had ordered that district be drawn to give the Democrats an upper hand, and it's that party's first chance in a long time to hold 2 congressional seats in Alabama, so they'd love to see Figures get a boost. Figures worked in the Obama administration and in the Justice Department under President Biden. He's from Mobile. He's facing Montgomery attorney Caroline Dobson, the Republican, in the general election. One thing we've talked about here before is how the presidential race might affect District 2. Figures says it helps his campaign that Harris is a black woman. Quote, "I think her being at the top of the ticket in this district, which is the birthplace of the civil rights movement, it means a lot when you look at the role that black women played in the civil rights movement." Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall said that gambling establishments in Selma have to shut it down, reports AL.com's Carol Robinson. A Dallas County Circuit judge granted the AG's request for temporary restraining orders against 5 facilities: Joker 777 on East Highland Avenue, Mini Bingo on Dallas Avenue, Selma Charity Bingo on Highway 14 East, Selma Bingo on Hickory Road, and Lucky Duck on Highway 80 West. Search warrants have been executed at those places, and the state claims they have slot machines and that illegal gambling is taking place. Authorities reported 24 slot machines at Mini Bingo alone. The Gulf State Park Pier finally reopened 7 a.m. Monday morning, reports AL.com's Lawrence Specker. Dozens were lined up to wet a line as the pier fully opened for the first time in years. Back on September 16th, 2020, a ribbon cutting was planned to celebrate a couple $1 million worth of upgrades, and that's when Hurricane Sally struck the coast. Part of the pier was opened for a while, but the big fixes have been underway since last November. Waiting on FEMA funding and the rise in construction costs slowed down the project. The pier is now almost 1,600 feet long, with a big octagonal platform at the end. Plans still include adding an elevator for ADA-approved access to the second floor observation deck. When that's done, they'll finally get to have that ribbon cutting. Hey, we're going to take a quick ad break as we try to save up for the August power bill. When we come back, Lee Morgan has good weather news since she always complains that I only bring her on when it's bad news. And I have a few thoughts about, well, sandwiches. Y'all stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. Today on the show, we're going to welcome back weather reporter Lee Morgan. She's going to talk to us a little bit about this week's respite from the dog days of summer. Welcome back, Lee.
Hey, I'm glad to be back sharing some good news.
This is all depends on who you are, but yeah, most people.
Who would not think this is good news?
Most people like a false fall.
Yeah, false fall. Now, if anybody, we want to caution everybody, it is a fake fall. It's not real. You keep your sweaters in the closet for at least 2 more months before it really gets cold. But the next couple of nights are going to be, crisp, we could say.
We'll take crisp.
We'll take crisp.
My lawn was crisp until yesterday's rain.
That's true. The bad news is no rain. We're looking at very low chances for the next week. But if you go outside this morning, you will notice a little, less humidity in the air, especially if you're in North and Central Alabama. And then tonight into Wednesday morning is going to be extra chilly. If you are in North Alabama, you could see the 50s overnight.
Oh, I hadn't seen those in a while.
I know.
So what does this mean if I'm on the coast?
It means it's still going to be warm on the coast, but even by Wednesday morning, places down in South Alabama will get into, they may see the high 60s or low 70s, but it's a lot better than what they've been dealing with for the past few months. So we'll take what we can get, right? Now, listen, the days are still going to be warm, right? We're still going to have highs in the 80s and 90s, but, we'll take what we can get at this point.
Okay, so a few degrees here and there all throughout the state.
And I wanted to tell everybody one more thing that I noticed on my way home from work last night. The moon, it's incredible. I almost ran off the road. I saw it right when it was rising. It's one of those quote unquote super moons.
Super blue moon, I believe.
A super blue moon, I've heard people say. Don't quiz me on definitions because I don't know. But I looked up the moon.
Doesn't happen a whole lot.
It doesn't. Once in a blue moon,
right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, I made the effort for you guys to look up what time the moon rises tonight. And it looks like no matter where you are in the state, the moonrise will be around 8:20 tonight. That is Central Time. So if you're somewhere where you can get a good view of it coming up over the horizon, set an alarm on your phone so you'll remember and don't miss it because it was pretty cool. It was huge and it was orangey. So I recommend viewing if you can.
So it wasn't blue.
It was not blue.
They don't always follow the color palettes with the news.
That's true.
Well, Lee, thanks so much for sharing the good news about the false fall. I don't hate a false fall. I'm also a bit of an Indian summer guy. I just like surprises.
I know what you are.
I like surprises.
You would take summer 12 months a year if you could. I know how you are.
After the killing frost, you get a little warm, dry air. It's time to hit the beach if you're anywhere near the Gulf Coast because the tourists are gone.
Maybe so.
A good time of year. All right. Well, thanks, Lee. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Before I hang up today, I wanted to mention a story that's on the lighter side that jumped out at me recently. Bob Carlton's been on the show before. He did a short feature recently on the best Alabama sandwich according to Yelp. Which is interesting because it's based on customer reviews and not just what a staff connoisseur or a panel of pickers thinks. And the best sandwich in Alabama, according to Yelp, is the Cuban sandwich at Cool Corner Sandwiches in Vestavia Hills. I do like a good Cuban sandwich, like the one at Tally Ho when you're driving down 231 and hit Highway 98 on your way to Panama City Beach. This Yelp story will work on my tiny brain until I break down and stumble into Cool Corner one day soon. It's a family-owned business run by Bill Ramirez, the son of Cuban immigrant and founder Idelfonso Ramirez, who passed away earlier this year at 100 years of age. You got to respect a man who spends so much time around so much food and still reaches triple digits. A few months ago, the Southern food TV host and writer John T. Edge did a piece for Garden and Gun in which he named the 10 must-try Southern sandwiches. And 2 of his picks were here in Alabama: the egg and olive at Trowbridge's in Florence and the hot ham and cheese at Pizza Bar in Carbon Hill. These may very well be the best sandwiches in Alabama, or at least among the best, but what would be the sandwich that best represents Alabama? That's another question entirely. I just don't think a Cuban, an egg and olive, or a ham and cheese quite have what it takes to pull that load. By popularity in America, the hamburger is probably the king sandwich in every state, so it's not identified enough with Alabama or the South to work. So what's the quintessential Alabama sandwich? I asked around. Managing producer John Hammondtree said it might actually be the Chick-fil-A sandwich. Now, that's a strong entry there. Not unique to Alabama, but certainly Southern, and so popular that Sam's stocks a decent frozen knockoff. And fried chicken absolutely represents our cuisine and history. Now, if we went the fried chicken route, I might instead point folks to Jackson's in Camden and its powerfully good COB. That stands for chicken on the bun. I assume so that new employees always remember how to assemble the thing. Lee, who you just heard from of weather fame, thought the quintessential Alabama sandwich had to be a barbecue pork sandwich, and she might be right. I've had a tremendous number of barbecue pork sandwiches across the South and am loath to try to pick a favorite on the spot, but the one I probably enjoyed the most, either because it was so good or I was so hungry at the time, was the one I picked up at Good Old Boys Barbecue in Sylacauga. Good Old Boys also had good slaw, and good slaw tends to make me remember a place fondly. Now, I think what's about to happen here is I'm going to land on a quintessential Alabama sandwich that, to my knowledge, does not exist yet. Maybe somebody will get on it. A double-decker fried chicken and pulled pork sandwich with a little barbecue sauce drizzle and good slaw on or off the sandwich. 3 pieces of bread so that the middle keeps the crispy chicken from getting soggy in the barbecue. And if you want to go wild, add bacon and call it an Alabama club. Just enjoy it sparingly, or you might not join Mr. Ramirez in the 100 Club. Thank y'all for indulging me. We're going to be back and do this again tomorrow. Until then, y'all come by and see what we're doing on the internet at al.com.